I stared at Bro Caleb. His looks were different. "You should leave now," a still voice whispered again. But before I would, Bro Caleb held my hands and we lost sanity. I looked at my unclad self on Bro Caleb's bed beneath his duvet, and the memories of the experience 13 years ago came alive. 13 years ago, I had gone for our children rehearsals in preparation for the Children's Day celebration to be held in our church. After the rehearsals had ended at 6 p.m., I went with Ayo, my childhood friend, home to see the new doll her parents bought her as a birthday present. My admiration of the doll told for an hour, and I arrived home past 7. My father locked up the house and told me to return to where I was coming from. I cried and begged, all to no avail. I heard my mother's pleadings, sobs, and even threatenings, but all fell on deaf ears. It was past 8 already. I strolled the empty path of Ajakun Street in deep fears, finding my way back to Ayo's house. I heard footsteps behind. I tried to increase my pace and was soon running. My tiny legs were swept off the ground by this unknown man. I struggled and screamed, but my struggling was as good as nothing. I woke up the next morning in an uncompleted building, alone and unclad. I tried to walk, but I felt pains between my thighs. When I returned home, my mother cried on sight of me and my blood-stained body. My father's own remorseful nature made me hate him. But well, this is still me, Kemi. And this experience now points only to that experience 13 years ago. I rolled my eyes over and found Bro Caleb in a kneeling posture, weeping and praying. I dressed up immediately and ran out of his apartment, crying. I unlocked the door to my room and stormed in tears. I shut the door just behind me and laid on the bed. How did it happen? But we were Christians and he was only a father-in-law to me. Inasmuch as I had soft spots for him, I had never envisaged the relationship to take this route. My tears were now in battle for two, my mother's death and this shameful act of mine. I felt this wave of guilt cloud my heart. I went on my knees and kept crying. After that experience, past 13 years, my mother had done all to prevent a recurrence of such, whether willfully or not, until I say I do lawfully. Owing to that, she spent a great deal of her time teaching me morals, praying and encouraging me. My tears were that of shame and unworthiness. I cried the more on realization that all my mother's efforts to see the best in me seemed fruitless. I'm her first seed and I should make her proud, but the reverse is the case. I bet even her grave was ashamed of me. I thought of home, Ile-Ife. How would they see me when they hear of this? Oluwaseun, Temilade and Jadesola. Would they still look up to me as an elder sister? All these questions and many more made tears flow the more and even more. I sat on the floor and placed my bare hands on my head, wishing I would wake up from this awful dream. At 8 p.m. that day, I laid on the bed with a swollen face. Tears had ceased from dropping out. My life now seemed senseless, meaningless, empty, devastating. My phone beeped and it was a text from Bro Caleb. Please, Sister Kemi Sola, we need to talk. After service tomorrow will be perfect. I'm sorry it happened. I hissed in disgust. Did he just type Sister Kemi Sola? So it's no more Omomi. The sight of his name led me to rage. He was just a monster that took advantage of my weak moment. I came for a console, but he added to my sorrows. While my thoughts still battled, another text came in. It was from the general coordinator of our fellowship, Pastor Vincent. He was single, fervent, and very matured. I guess a no-go area for messed up sisters like myself. The text read, "You are blessed, my dear sister. Please intensify your prayers more towards marriage. Some brothers in the church had signed on your name. Don't be confused. Consult the Creator." I sat up abruptly after reading through the message. Some brothers? Where were they all this while? Why now? But then, I recall Bro John. He had made his intentions clear to me once upon a time, but I had shut him down and almost insulted him because I had my eyes fixed on Bro Caleb. I was sure those brothers would disappear in thin air when they get to find out this disgraceful act of mine. I lay down back gently. My heart was on the climax of pain. The guilt I felt was choking life out of me. While I struggled with the pain I felt within, I heard a gentle tap on the door. I walked to the door and unlocked it. It was Sarah. "Welcome, Sister Sarah," I murmured and went back to the bed. I noticed Sarah was so happy that evening. "Why are you looking like this? What is it?" Sarah asked, her smiles dwindling into nothing. "Nothing really, I'm fine, just sleeping," I said, faking a dry smile to escape more pressure from her. Ever since my mother's death, Sarah hated to see me even sad. She would preach me out of that mood. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Yes," I replied. "Okay, guess what?" Sarah said, her hearty smile taking its place back. "What?" I said, a bit unconcerned, fondling with my fingers. Then Sarah broke the shell. "He proposed." "He did what?" I asked in complete bewilderment as I stood up from the bed. "Yes, he proposed," Sarah said, showing me the beautiful ring in her finger. "That idiot, that good-for-nothing fool proposed to you. Just today he messed up my life. And yet he wants to make his sweet." I began in tears as a sudden hatred for Bro Caleb coated my being. I felt like a fool. I felt used. Sarah was shocked. So all the years of Omomi was just to get my back on the bed. I sat on the floor and started wailing. I remembered the dream and I began rolling on the floor. What a messed up life. "Kemi, what's wrong?" Sarah asked, still looking puzzled. I jumped to my feet immediately I heard those words of hers, and I turned to her. "Do you want to know the problem?" I asked calmly, but in certain pain. "Oh yes, please," she replied swiftly. "The problem is that the marriage will not work." "I don't understand. You should rejoice with me. I even want you to be the chief bridesmaid of..." She was still speaking when I interrupted her. "Go and tell your Mr. Proposer that I, Kemisola Benga Jibola, said that the marriage will not work. Tell him he can't spoil my life and have his own life sweet. The battle line has been drawn and I am so ready for it."